Welcome, welcome, welcome to day one of Fame Camp. So Fame Camp is based upon me, Edgar's Creating Fame course. That was actually our founder, Laura Roeder's flagship course when she was getting started with making a presence online, teaching people about creating your own small business. And this week, we're breaking down some of the concepts within creating fame on this 1 week Fame Camp that we're doing. So if you're signed up for Fame Camp, you've gotten the emails. If you're not signed up yet and you want to be, go ahead and email support@meetedgar.com and we'll make sure you get on the list. But today, let's not waste any other time and let's dive into the subject of today's email. And that is all about guest posting. So the worksheet for going a little bit further on this is linked in the description of this video, so be sure to check it out. And truly, guest posting is an amazing way to make sure that you are building up your audience and that you are getting more subscribers to your own email list and that you're essentially positioning yourself as an expert in your industry on someone else's blog. But sometimes, as we know, when we're reaching out to get guest posts, it can be a little bit frustrating, right? You feel like you might be reaching out all of the time, but you're hearing crickets, you're hearing no responses back. So that's kind of the first step of making sure that you continue to consistently reach out to share your expertise online. It's understanding that every single no you get when you pitch yourself to be a guest on someone else's blog is just getting you one step further to that yes. So if you've been trying to get a guest post on someone's blog in the past and you haven't had any luck with it, remember, consistency is key. You need to make a list of people within your industry who you want to get on their blog and continue to reach out to these people. If someone says no, it's likely that they understand the concepts and the way that you're writing or the material that you want to present is not going to resonate and land well with their audience. And that's actually a good thing. So when you're getting in the mindset of pitching and reaching out to be a guest post on someone else's blog, if they say no, be grateful about that, right? Because it means that those readers wouldn't have had the benefit of actually reading and getting the knowledge that you're imparting on them, but someone else's blog will be right for that. So keep going with it. It is the people who are consistent in business with this that are showing up on guest posts. So that's step number one with the mindset there. Next, it's really knowing people's audiences, right? So we were just talking about the fact that if someone says no, it's likely that they understand their audience really, really well, and they realize that this just isn't going to be a great benefit for them. So you need to take some time before you pitch to be a guest post on someone else's blog to get to know who their readers are. Because really, that's the whole point of a guest post. It's to be helpful to that person's audience. And when you're helpful and when you provide that value, the readership will be a little bit more curious about you. They'll say, wow, this person has offered a lot of value. I want to go deeper. I want to consume more of their content. And it's likely they'll actually come over to your blog and learn more about you. So one way that you actually could do this is to take a really holistic view of who their audience is. Go ahead and read some of their past blog posts to see the different concepts that the readers are actually diving deep on into the blog. Go ahead and get on their social media feeds of this content creator. Go ahead and educate yourself on the stuff that they're already putting out for their readers. That's step one of just really getting to know what type of language is really allowing them to connect with their readers. And then it's going to be all about saying, okay, what do these audience members perhaps want to know that I'm not seeing showing up that's related to these topics, right? So for example, at Meet Edgar, we're a social media automation tool. We write a ton about social media and automation and remote work and small business tips, but there's a lot of stuff we're not exactly experts in, you know? So that would be a way we could bring in a guest post. We've done this with video content. We have no one on our team who actually edits videos or knows any of that, but a lot of our readers want to know how to edit really easily. So we've brought on guest interviews for that. We have people on our marketing team who do things like SEO research, but we don't have a ton of people who have strong knowledge in SEO. We contract a lot of that work out. So we've brought guest post people who can write about SEO in a much more knowledgeable way that we can. So what are those verticals in the guest posting that you're trying to reach out to that are related? So, right, if people know about SEO, it's likely their content is going to be more researchable online and they're going to need a social media automation tool. You see how those things are kind of related? So that's what you want to go do. You want to look for the holes on their blog and saying, okay, this reader has a holistic life, right? And they want to know all of these these different things. What can I add into their blog that plugs those holes up to make them more successful in the whole? So that's what you also want to do when you're reaching out to guest posters, because if they're already an expert in it, it's likely they're not going to want to bring your voice into it. They already have their unique aspect of knowing what they're posting. But if you can bring that additional value and make it clear when you're pitching to people what that additional value is, that is when the magic actually happens, right? Cool. So another way to actually get to know their audience, and this takes a little bit more work, but I really think you're going to see some huge benefits, because likely if it takes a little more work, not a ton of people are doing it, right? And that's actually reaching out and talking to some of their followers. So you have access to their social media pages already. Go on there and see who some of their power users are, right? Get out there and see who's commenting on their posts the most, who's liking things, who's asking great questions on their Twitter account or in their Facebook page or on their LinkedIn profile, and go ahead and DM those people to ask them a little bit more about who they are, what they're interested in learning, what their biggest challenges are, what their biggest dreams in life are. And if they're that active on their page, it's likely they'll want to help you and discuss you in these discovery calls. Bonus points if you actually get on the call with them. But these things about knowing someone's audience so intimately is only going to help you pitching yourself to that person in an incredible way. And what an awesome value add to add into your email when you're guest pitching, saying, hey, I talked to so-and-so who's a part of your community, and we talked about their biggest dream being XYZ. And this is how my content will help them achieve their dream. What a more incredibly convincing guest post pitch that is than just saying your audience will like this. That specificity is going to wow whoever writes that blog in such a way that, again, not a lot of people are doing that. So you will stand out in the amount of guest post pitches they might be getting. So get to know their audience. It doesn't have to take a ton of time. Ask them about their challenges, their dreams, what they're hoping to learn, and incorporate that into your strategy of your guest posting. Get specific. Let them know that you've done that work. And really, your pitch to the blog writer is your true chance to get to wow them, right? So you want to do your research. You want this to be done, and you don't want to waste their time actually reading through an email that's just a template. So make sure you're really clear and really concise and crystal clear on the message you want their readers to, and the outcome that you want their readers to get after they read your blog post. So if you're guest posting, you need to have the outcome in mind. After someone reads this, what is the next step that they can take to achieve a certain outcome they want in their life? Again, that goes back to the power of actually knowing what outcomes, what goals those people have. Now, when it comes to actually reaching out to people, remember, being concise in your emails is also important. We are all super busy. And if someone sees a huge email with blocks and blocks of text, it's likely they're just going to be skimming it anyway. So make sure you're bullet pointing the clear outcomes that their viewers or that their readers are actually going to get after consuming your content. Make sure you bullet point what exactly the next step they can take to see a result and to get something achieved is going to be. Make sure you outline in a bullet point who their audience is for them and why you are the right person to help them. That's just 3 bullet points right there that you can workshop a little bit to get in there that are really powerful and impactful for the person who wrote that blog. And clarity really is key for anything in life. So this is a great practice for you to be able to take and that you can use in any sort of email communication down the road. And if you can explain kind of a complicated subject in a really understandable way, that's really what an expert is, in my opinion, is someone who can take a really complicated subject and break it down into achievable bite-sized pieces that people can digest and understand. So that's your point, to be able to show that you can write that way in your guest post pitch will give the reader confidence, will give the person you're pitching confidence that you'll be able to break down these complicated subjects for their readers in a digestible way too. So when you're pitching, you really want to make sure the structure of your email is so easy to read, so easy to digest in that way. And as we're on this topic of simplicity, I really want you to remember, down to the root of what you're trying to do here for the blogger is identifying a problem that their reader has and providing a solution. That is truly the simplest form of what blogging should be about. And I think it gets overcomplicated by so many people thinking that they have to be super fancy. So can you just sit down and write out what the problem is for that blog reader and what the solution you have is? Can you make that super duper clear? You're halfway done with your job here, right? So, problem solution, don't forget to keep it simple sometimes. Cool. And when you're offering a solution, when you're like reaching out in your guest post pitch, you want to make sure you're offering a solution that no one else can offer. So, how can your stories, how can your life experience actually educate people better than anyone else's? So, essentially, why should that blog writer pick you as a guest poster over anyone else? It's your unique selling proposition, it's your unique point of view in life, it's your unique stories. So, make sure as a bullet point in one of your emails while you're pitching has that little uniqueness about who you are, the brand style that you write in, and how it's going to really relate with their followers. And this really comes down to, I think, building relationships with the person you're pitching as well. So the first email communication you have with the person you're pitching probably shouldn't be the pitch. You should get out there and you should start subscribing to their newsletter. You should start commenting on their blog posts if they have comments turned on. You should be subscribed to their Twitter feed and to their Facebook feed. You should be following them on LinkedIn before you ever pitch. Do that legwork first. This is really going to show them that you want to have a relationship beyond just asking for something from them, right? If the first time they hear from you is you saying, hey, I would love to write something so that I can get my name in front of your followers, doesn't come across super well. But if they've seen you retweeting some of their tweets or sharing some of their blog posts on your LinkedIn with a comment about how much value it gave you, or if they see you commenting on their blogs or as a newsletter subscriber and you're replying to their newsletter, they're going to get to know your name and that familiarity of who you are and the unique aspect that you're a part of their community already. Again, it's just going to put you ahead of other people who aren't doing that work. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time to build up this relationship, but having that long game in mind is going to really be valuable for you. And it all goes back to what we love to say on just online in general, is that it's all about collaboration over competition. So even if this does not pay off right away for getting a guest post, it could be likely a few weeks down the road, you might be able to reach out and they would be willing to do like a guest podcast with you or a webinar with you. You never know. This relationship building and collaborating is never going to be a bad thing. And if you're just getting started with guest posting and you're finding that you don't really know who to reach out to or where to find these blogs, or if you've heard a lot of no's in the past, I'm going to suggest that you look for newer blogs and that you look for newer software services or newer products, because it's likely if they're a bootstrapped and super new team that they might be a little bit on that content creation treadmill and not knowing how to get off. So if you can actually get out there and offer them a valuable guest post, they're going to be a little more likely to jump on that and be excited you reached out. So if you're hearing a lot of no's, try that tip first. Build those relationships with these newer programs that might not have a huge newsletter right now, might not have a huge blog subscription readership right now, but in the future, they really might be. So remember, the long game in relationships truly does matter. And what makes for a really powerful guest post is all about making sure that your uniqueness is showing through to whoever reads it. So anyone can really look up statistics, right? Anyone can really learn a subject nowadays for free online. Google exists for a reason. So weaving your stories in there is really important. And having that vulnerability in there of being able to share a past lesson is super important as well. I was actually listening to The Daily Stoic. I don't know if you guys know that. It's by Ryan Holiday. Absolutely love him. But he was talking about one of the tenets of Stoicism and of being a responsible human in general is to make sure that you're sharing your experiences and what you've learned from your past mistakes to improve all of humanity, right? That's kind of what the Romans built their empire upon. And a lot of that, I think, can apply to today. Now, I know you might be thinking, this is kind of heavy for something that's just supposed to be talking about guest posting, Megan. But stay with me for a minute, because I think that relates to what makes for a really good guest post, is having that responsibility in mind of saying, okay, I have past lessons that I've learned in my life. I have stuff that I'm an expert in, and it is my responsibility to share that with the world to improve humanity. The internet is so overloaded with stuff that's not helpful, and that's almost taking away from humanity. So you need to approach it in a way that you have lessons that other people could actually learn from, that could improve their lives and that could improve the planet in general. And when you take this approach that we're here for such a short time, that any piece of content you're making should have that ability to really make sure you're moving people in a meaningful direction, it becomes really fun to reach out to people. it helps with that motivation as well, having that mission behind it, right? So if you have a mission of, hey, I'm approaching this with the idea that I can make an impact in someone's life and I can reach, my guest post can actually reach more people, and my message and my story, my personal experiences and how I overcame them, how I actually achieved the goal and the outcome that I wanted, will help other people achieve that goal and outcome that they want. So that aspect is so, so important. And it's something that I think we forget about, is that our brains work in story and narrative, and we latch on to that human connection. So in your guest posting pitches, don't be afraid to include that personal story. Don't be afraid to tell the actual person you're pitching why your stories are going to resonate with their audience. And remember, it really is about making it clear the impact that you want to have, the outcome that you want their readers to actually achieve after consuming your content. So keep going. It really is just getting that one big anchor client and getting that momentum going is one of the funnest things about guest posting. So what an anchor client is, basically, it's like once you get one reader, it doesn't even have to be a huge blog. You can then, in your guest post pitches, you can then start to include things like, hey, you can read one of my last guest posts on XYZ blog. Once they've seen that one person has had you on as a guest post, it makes it a little easier for the human brain to be like, okay, cool, someone has already vetted them. Someone has already seen value with them. Let me now make sure that I am going to get advantage of that too. So again, look for these smaller products, perhaps. If you're hearing a lot of no's, look for newer programs, reach out to them, because even that is a way of creating your own fame online. Eventually, that content is going to get read by more and more people. And another great tip about this is making sure that you are reaching out in your guest posts and letting people know that you have an evergreen guest post for them. So if you know me, Edgar, at all, you know our social media automation tool is based upon your evergreen content. That's stuff you can write once, promote multiple times, and is always valuable. Your guest posts, your pitches, should make sure that people know, hey, this post I'm going to write for you, this blog post I'm going to write for you is going to be evergreen. You're going to get the SEO benefits of people researching this topic far beyond just when you share it once on your social media feed or once in your newsletter, or saying, you know, hey, you can, I'll write this once and I'll go ahead and share it out on my social media feeds a few months after even, and we'll see a big bump from that. So reminding people that the content you're writing about is going to be in an evergreen fashion can be super duper exciting, because people will be able to be reminded, okay, wow, I can have someone guest post for me once and it's going to continue to drive traffic for my site. So always remind people in your guest post emails about the evergreen nature of the content you're going to produce for them. And really, the next tip I want to bring to center here is kind of related to that. And that's just that you want to be an expert in your industry, of course, and you want people in their following to see you as an expert. So you really want to be thinking, you know, what if I don't have any guest posts to have this legitimacy be shown? What if I don't have anything on another person's blog yet that shows the evergreen nature? Am I just pitching them and like convincing them that it's evergreen? Well, that's another part of creating fame, right? It's using things that are online, like Medium, like LinkedIn articles, and actually writing these things in an evergreen fashion. If you guys have used LinkedIn articles, or if you guys have used Medium before, you know that these are just free resources out there where you can write without having to have a blog. So if you don't want to start your own WordPress blog, look for other ways you can start writing this content you're on your own and start sending them those articles to show them your expert status, to show them how you can write in an evergreen fashion, and to show them your unique stories that you can share with their audience. Cool. So also, when you're writing these, especially if you're doing it like on LinkedIn or on Medium, take advantage of best blogging practices to really, again, lead by example and show by example why you're going to be so good at this. So some of the best blogging examples we're going to finish this live stream out on here is reminding yourself that really 80% of blog readers truly just scan a blog. I know I am guilty of that. I'm sure you are. There's so much content we want to consume and learn and get excited about that often we just end up skimming it, scrolling, not actually stopping and reading every single word. So when you're writing your blog posts as examples for them to read, make sure you're doing it in a way that you're having those headlines and those subheadlines and enough white space between paragraphs to make it really easy for people to skim. And optimizing your blog posts so that it's going to be able to stand out on social feeds. You know, when you're pitching and when you're writing your guest pitches to bloggers, I always want you to go above and beyond too and tell people, hey, after I write this, I'll also make you some graphics so that you can share this blog post link, not only with like a link preview, but you could share this graphic on Instagram where you can't have a link preview. Or if you wanted to share this graphic about what it's about with the link to test that way on Facebook, I could do that as well. So could you go into Canva and make customizable graphics about what their blog is about and include that in your guest post email to them? Any little bonus that you can do to stand out from the other guest posters is going to be really appreciated there. And I want you to also remember to spend a ton of time on headlines. So when you're reaching out to people, typically you include the subject matter that you're going to be writing about, of course, but you need to make sure that you're not just saying, I want to write about social media strategy. You want to make sure that you're spending a ton of time getting a really exciting headline out there. So this means making sure that you're doing things like thinking, hey, can I put like a numbered list as my headline? People love numbers. They love to know what they're going to get out of there. Or, hey, can I use like a language technique like alliteration to make this really fun to read? Or, hey, can I really make sure that I'm getting strong language and not passive language in my headline so that it's really popping out at people? If you've never done the headline generating machine exercise, we did a live stream on it last week. So it's going to be on our YouTube channel. If you go to Meet Edgar's YouTube channel, go ahead and look at that because it's a great way to kind of understand how you should be producing multiple headlines for an article in order to get the best one, and really spend a ton of time on those before you put them in your guest posting. And as it comes down to the end here, I want you to focus on your own social media presence. So the reason that this is really important is because you can use this as leverage to say, hey, I have this many amount of followers on my Twitter account. After I write this guest post for you, I am going to tweet out the link to your blog to my followers. What a cool way to have that, again, collaboration that you are driving traffic to your blog post, but it's also going to be hosted on their blog so that they're getting your followers' eyes on their blog content. In addition, you're getting their followers' eyes on your blog content as the guest poster, right? So focus on building up your LinkedIn readers, focus on building up your Twitter and your personal Facebook pages and groups so that you can tell people how many followers you are going to tweet or you are going to post out that guest post to. And it's just another bonus, right? That you can include in that email to stand out a little bit. So we've covered a lot here, and I have all the confidence in the world that you have enough now to get started on building relationships, on making sure you're reaching out to people's audiences, on writing clearly and concisely about why and what the benefit and offers your unique story has for people to offer an impact online these days. If you want to dive deeper, remember the worksheet for today is in the description of this video, and really customize your pitches is what I want to leave you with. You can make a framework. We are all about efficiency and automation here at Meet Edgar, being a social media automation tool. So have a framework, but do not use the same guest posts. Do this work. This is the only way you're truly going to get on those bigger publications, to be seen out there, to get your name as an expert in your industry on other people's blogs. All comes down to individualization and really making sure you know their audience and what problems they want solved and how your solution can help solve them. All right, so make a list, 5 to 10 blogs that would be your dream blogs to get on, and start researching them and do this work. Let me know in the comments here when you've got a great guest pitch done. Go ahead and email it to support@meetedgar.com. I will be in the inbox all week. I would love to read over what you guys are working on. We'll be tuning in same time, same place for tomorrow, day 2 of Fame Camp. Super fun hanging out with you guys today, and keep in touch as you're building your fame online. Have a good one.